Flo, just tell us where you are and what's going on around you.
Hey, Tom. Well, I'm in West Philadelphia. We're in a polling station in a school here, and election officials say there's a steady stream of voters coming in to cast their ballot. This morning, scenes were quite chaotic, according to election officials here. People lined up around the block trying to vote before they go to work. So things are a little bit calmer now, but they're expecting another surge, as they're calling it, from 4:30 p.m. onwards when people get off work, essentially. Now, we've spoken to a lot of people here in West Philadelphia. Most of them, it must be said, are leaning towards the Democratic candidate, Joe Biden. But it's a very different story once you get out of the big cities in Pennsylvania. So you have Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. They tend to lean more blue. But once you get out of the big cities and go more to the rural areas, well, you'll find a lot of pro-Trump supporters. Trump has managed to win over a lot of working class voters in rural Pennsylvania with promises of boosting the economy and resurrecting the coal industry there. We actually attended a Trump rally on Saturday, and his message was all about the economy and going full steam ahead with fracking. And indeed, the Trump voters that we spoke to in rural Pennsylvania say that that's really the message that they're appreciating, is the president's message on the economy. Pennsylvania is a key state in this election. In fact, analysts say that it could be the single most important state in this election. There are 20 electoral college votes up for grabs, 20 votes. So that's quite a big prize there for whoever will win this state. And every vote is going to count. Both candidates know it. They have been crisscrossing the state for weeks now. In fact, people joke around here that it seems like Joe Biden and Donald Trump live in Pennsylvania because they've been campaigning here so much. And indeed, they have been campaigning here in the final days. And just yesterday, you said Donald Trump was in Scranton, so Joe Biden's hometown, where he is today on Election Day.
Goodness, so Scranton has been a hive of activity by all accounts. Now, it might be a while before we have a final result there in Pennsylvania, mightn't it?
Absolutely, because every state has different rules when it comes to counting votes. And here in Pennsylvania, you can only count votes starting on Election Day, so on November 3rd. And what's different about this year is there have been a lot of absentee ballots, a lot of mail-in ballots due to the coronavirus pandemic. So there's going to be a huge number of votes to be counted starting today. What you need to know is that Pennsylvania has decided to extend the deadline for counting these mail-in votes, these absentee votes. There has been a 3-day extension for counting these votes basically anything that's been post-stamped on November 3rd, they have until Friday, so November 6th, to count those votes. Keep in mind, though, that Republicans have tried to challenge this extension. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court, which decided not to rule on this extension. And the reason they didn't is because the court was deadlocked because the new judge, Amy Coney Barrett, decided not to vote on whether or not to allow this extension. So the court didn't really rule on it. So it's a little mysterious whether or not these votes will actually be able to be counted. For now, elections officials are putting these votes on the side. They're going to count them separately because Donald Trump has already vowed to challenge this extension of counting these mail-in votes. He's warned that there could be cheating here in Pennsylvania. So all this suggests that it could be quite some time until we know what the final result is here in the key state of Pennsylvania.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much indeed for bringing us up to speed on everything there in Pennsylvania from the state's biggest city, Philadelphia. Thank you so much, Florence Villeminot.